Good afternoon. Today we're with,
Linda VanWesten.
and I hear that you're retiring this year.
Yes, finally I am retiring from District 518.
What made you take the decision to retire this year?
Well, I've taught for a long time, and it's just time for me to spend some time with my family. And I have a couple of granddaughters and some things that I need to do and take care of, even though I've really, really loved it here.
Where did you get your education for education in music?
I graduated from Augsburg College with a BA in music education in 1983.
How many years have you been teaching here in the district?
30 years in this district, but 43 total.
So, what made you interested in music education?
Okay, well, I've always been kind of interested in it, but when I was in first grade, we had a substitute music teacher, and he had no idea what to do. And so he asked if anybody wanted to sing and in front of the class, and I thought, oh, I'll help him out. So I sang, and the class sang with me, and I really kind of liked it. So that kind of put the idea in my head.
So, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Brooklyn Park, so I grew up right outside the city.
And what brought you to Worthington? What was the journey to there?
The journey here was because I finally found a husband, and he was from Sioux Valley, which isn't too far from here. And we were going to get married in August, and I had to leave my last teaching job in Clarkfield, Minnesota, because he was a farmer, and you got to move with the farm. And so there was a part-time position open over at West Elementary. And so I got an interview on my way here to get ready for the wedding. So I came to town for my interview with my gown and all the flowers and all of the wedding things in the back of my car. And I interviewed for that position. And then he said they're looking for a music teacher at St. Mary's. So I drove over to St. Mary's, interviewed there, and then I drove back into Clarkfield where the wedding was going to be because I'd been there for 10 years. So that's where we had the wedding. So it was a really busy time.
Have you seen a difference of where you're originally from to Worthington?
Yeah. I think the biggest change was my first job. Right out of college, it was a lot harder to find teaching jobs. And there was one open on the Standing Rock Reservation in South Dakota. And that was my first teaching job. And that was very different from the city. So I think I learned a lot about the different cultures and different places to live. But I found out kids are kids. They all kind of need the same thing. They need security, and they need structure, and they need rules, and they need to know that people care about them. But it was quite a change from Brooklyn Park.
Are you a first generation educator, or did you have people in your family that were educators before that?
No, I'm a first generation educator. I have an uncle who's a pastor, and I know he taught some classes. But as far as public school, I'm the first one.
Same for music. Did you have like music in your family, or is that something you were some first person to learn to play instruments?
My father was very musical. He played in a band, he played piano, he could play just about anything he picked up. So he was very musical, and I think he would have liked to have done more, but he had a family to support. But he kind of passed that on to my sister and me, and he was kind of my first music teacher.
On the journey to become an educator, also you have other jobs. What are other jobs you had on the way to become an educator?
I've been a music educator since I graduated with my bachelor's. Before then, it was more just to earn money. I worked at a pizza parlor and made pizza and made pizza dough, and I worked at a potato farm and sorted potatoes into different grades. And I worked in a nursing home for a few years as a nurse's aide.
So, did you learn any lessons from working at those jobs, or did it make you gain more of a passion to achieve where you are now?
Well, I enjoyed them for the most part, but I'd always had my mind set on being a teacher.
Some challenges you had when you first started educating.
Oh my first job, I was kindergarten through 12th grade, vocal and classroom music. So I did all the choirs, I did all the different grade levels, and it was a smaller school, but I still had to plan for every different class. And it was new to me. I was only a couple years younger than my high school students, and I think they knew it. And so it took me a little while to kind of just find my bearings and get to know them and kind of work things out. We had a pretty good choir finally once we got going.
And then teaching music as itself, that's something that drastically changes over the years. How has it been teaching and seeing the change in music over the years? Kids, different eras, they listen to, what's popular at the time, pop one year, rock one year. How has that been?
Well, it's, I think one of the biggest changes actually in education has been the standards that we need to meet. Not just Minnesota standards, but the national standards. So we spend a lot of time trying to hit the benchmarks so the kids can stay on track and learn what they need to learn. As far as the music they like, yeah, I remember the 80s. That was kind of crazy. It was punk rock, and they thought they were so cool. And 90s, we had the grunge, and they always wanted to sing those things, especially the older kids. And it was kind of hard to say, no, you can't sing some of these songs in public because I'll get in trouble. But, if they could, we'd do some pops concerts and we'd find appropriate things that they like to do.
One thing that's also changed other than music is technology.
Oh, yeah.
How has it been seeing the change in technology in the classroom over the years?
Well, in a lot of ways, it's made things easier. I have never been real great with technology, so I had to learn. But we went from drawing on a chalkboard or a piece of tag board and pointing to the words they were supposed to sing. Now I can put it up on our new line board, and they can follow along as the music's happening. They can see the notes they're singing. If they're doing different parts, we can have 2 different parts going. They can read where theirs are and where the other group is. So that has been a really big help. One of the things that might be harder is that kids spend a lot of time on technology, especially on their phones and iPods or iPads now. And sometimes I think it's hard to concentrate on something for more than a short period of time. They're kind of geared, a few of them, to how long a TikTok is or something like that. And when I first started teaching, they could make it through a sitcom, the amount of time of a sitcom. So it keeps getting shorter, I think, sometimes.
Over the years, many years, you have many fond memories of educating. Is there a memory that stuck with you and made you just stick with the passion of educating?
I think it's one in particular was the first musical I did my first year teaching. We did The Wizard of Oz, and we actually got all the way through it, and the kids were so excited and so proud of themselves, and that was the first one I'd ever done. And mostly it's just seeing a kid really blossom, because some kids might be shy or have trouble in other subjects. Music is where they can really blossom, especially kids with special needs sometimes too can be very good in music.
Do you have a favorite part of the job? Is there a job that you're like, this is what music education is?
Well, I read in a book. I got a book, What Color is Your Parachute? And in the beginning of the book, it said, when you're doing what God meant you to do, you'll feel Him put His finger on your heart. And that's what I felt when I was teaching.
Outside of music education, what are things that you are passionate about or you enjoy doing in life?
Well, I love to read. I'm trying to crochet. trying to. It's getting better. I like to be outdoors, but not too much. And I've got a couple granddaughters now, too. My kids have pretty much grown up. So I really enjoy my family, and I love doing music myself. Since I've been teaching, there's not a lot of time to develop your own musicality and the instruments and things that you've grown up doing.
And then over the years, a lot of colleagues come and go. Is there any colleagues that you're appreciative that you've met, or that you build a bond with? We become friends with our colleagues. Sometimes it feels like a second family because we see them every day.
Well, I came the same year as Jeanette Jensen. So we both came in '96, and we kind of started out together. I taught for a couple hours at West, where she was full-time. And oh my goodness, there's been so many. Jeannie Mammon and Taylor Hoovey and Deborah Moe. I guess I've kind of bonded with all of them. And now Rebecca Hahn. She's been here 2 years, and she's doing a great job.
And if you weren't in music education, what career would you think you would have driven to?
Well, I did start in college a little bit in music therapy, which isn't real different. But if I didn't do that, I've always been interested in psychology or counseling, or I've thought about classroom teacher, or maybe something in the medical profession.
As when you first started, you took the steps of someone prior to you, and same is happening now. Any advice for the person that's fulfilling the shoes that you're leaving?
I would say the first year, especially if they've never taught before. The first year can be the toughest. You're trying to find your way. And I would say find a good mentor, an experienced teacher that would help, that can kind of help and guide you along the way. I was lucky to have some people that really helped me out a lot. And to trust yourself, and even if the first year is tough, it's going to get better, and it's going to get easier, and it's really going to be fulfilling.
And any plans after retirement?
Right now, I'm planning to spend some time with my family. I've got some babysitting to do with my granddaughters. And we also moved into my husband's parents' place that we inherited. So I'm trying to fix that up and clean up the other house. And I've got a sister who needs some help. So right now I'm just going to play it a little bit by ear, and we'll see how things go.
On behalf of Studio 3 and the Warrenton ISD District, thank you for all the years of education brought us. You've taught many students like myself, and we're just thankful to have a teacher like you that made us interested in music. So thank you so much. Happy retirement, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Oh, thank you so much.